Thank you very much, Dr. Nana Asantewa Afadzinu, Executive Director of the West Africa Civil Society Institute, for granting this opportunity to the communications team of the West Africa Civil Society Institute.
Thank you, Jen.
Together with the senior management team of the Institute and board members of the Institute, you paid a working visit or a learning visit to the Kenya Community Development Foundation here in Kenya. Can you tell us a little bit about this visit?
Thank you very much, Jim. And yes, I can. WACSI was set up in 2005 as an organization to support the strengthening of civil society, to make them efficient, effective, sustainable, and resilient. Now, it's an institute that is supposed to run different programs, have different interventions to achieve this particular mission. One of the key areas as an organization that we found is the sustainability of civil society organizations, including ourselves. From 2009, 2010, when our main donor really pushed us and challenged us to think differently about sustainability. And so from our own experience as WACSI, we also did not only start looking at how to build sustainability and try different interventions, but also how we can share this with other civil society organizations who are just like us in the same ecosystem, depending on the same donations. So this is a journey that we've been on for a while. However, in recent times, WACSI, before COVID, we were championing this message of sustainability. And in fact, even did some work, a publication in Ghana on civil society sustainability, which people can look up and read different areas of sustainability that we have to look at. But if there was something that COVID did, it was to really harp on that message and underscore the absolute, relevance for everybody, donors, organizations working in this space, partners, different partners, to pay attention to sustainability of organizations and invest in the sustainability of organizations. So because of what COVID did, because many organizations were living hand to mouth, literally, and COVID justice, the Black Swan movement, that swept many off their feet. Yes, WACSI survived. We did not only survive, we actually thrived because we had already started embarking on this journey. But we thought there's more that we can do. If we are an institute that has been set up with this mission of strengthening civil society, this is one area we have to invest, build our own capacity, and enable others and practice what we preach. So apart from the publications, and we have a publication on alternative, sources of, sustainability, different ways that civil society can, strengthen their sustainability. We have a training program that is online that organizations can sign up to. We said, what are some of these areas that we've talked about? We've already started doing some things like buying some assets like land, looking at, different ways of cost cutting, and, having collaborations that, are mutually beneficial to organizations and helps us to cut down costs, for example, in interpretation. We had already started looking at how we could even let out some of the facilities that we were using, including offices, even when we had not built our own. But then we, as an organization, decided that it would be better first to cut down on costs, but also to offer certain services that are looking at the market, budgets, rates, facilities, that because of the challenges of, the financial challenges that many organizations face, they can have a place that, it's good quality, they can still use, and it's not too expensive. Because already we are running training programs, and we have these conferencing and other facilities. We use accommodation. There are other things we are doing. But many organizations also need this. So as an institute that has been set up to strengthen organizations, why don't we look at this as one of the key areas to build, and build not only for ourselves, but also for the organization that we have been set up to serve? And so we started and invested in this. We got some supports from different organizations, where we got some core support that was the interest went into, you can use this to support the organization, like from the Mackenzie Scott, like from Ford Foundation, from the Hewletts. We plowed some of it, not all of it, some of it, because we've been very intentional about how we've been using funding, and into setting up a conference facility, to setting up accommodation, etc. But then we still asked ourselves, this is not our core business, and we need to learn. We are a learning organization, and that means you have to do benchmarking as well. Who are the organizations you can get in Ghana, on the continent, that have done something like this and have been successful, that we can learn from, or can even learn from some of their failures, so that we don't repeat them? And if there's one organization that stood out for us, looking at all the metrics and indicators, it was KCDF, the Kenya Community Development Foundation. They have been on this journey for many years, since the 90s. I think the late 90s. I've forgotten the exact year that they were. I think 97 or so. They've been on this journey for a while. And so it was important. And they are not an organization that has only been on this journey. We are very aligned as the two organizations, WACSI and KCPF. We do a lot of things together. We collaborate in many programs. We have similar values. Our mission may be slightly different, because they are a community development foundation, and they focus on many things in that direction. We are a capacity development institute, though there's a slight difference there in terms of mission. But in terms of the end goal, which is strengthening community development, community well-being, having the peace and prosperity for our citizens on our continent, we are very well aligned. And we also are aligned when it comes to how we need to look within to build what we have, for it to be sustainable. So those are some of the things. And so KCDF stood out for us, and we decided then that we would come to Nairobi. And as you said, it is a very strong contingent from WACSI. And that is because of the seriousness that we have, we pay to this particular issue. It is the whole SFT, a senior management team, as well as two of our key board members. In fact, there were supposed to be 3 of them. One of them just couldn't make it at the very last minute. But 2 key board members who lead, our thinking on our thinking on these subjects, who joined us here in Kenya. So we've been here, had 3 working days, full working days, which has been just amazing.
Thank you very much. I can imagine 3 days, embarking on a journey with a powerful team. What is your overall impression about the 3 days experience?
It has been mind-blowing. It has exceeded our expectation. We knew KCDF were friends of ours. This visit has cemented that beyond. They were very open with us, very frank, very honest, shared, there was trust in their discussion. But that's about the relationship. Then about I think for me, a number of things that, because it was not only KCDF and how they have gone or they are embarked on their journey that they showed us, they also introduced one of their partners to us, the Beacon of Hope, for us to see how the Beacon of Hope had lived out their mission and how their values had run through their mission and the challenges they'd had. And Madame Jane, who is also the head of the Beacon of Hope, was also very open, and all the staff. There are certain things that run through the 2 days or in fact 3 days of these engagements. One is how intentional both organizations have been on their journey on sustainability. It's in their DNA. And it is in their DNA, and it flows through the values that they have. It flows through how they choose board members. It flows through their whole governance structure. So not only the choice of the board member, but the structure itself, how the organizations are structured. It flows through the kind of teams they work with. It flows through the kind of associates they work with, so also partners that they engage. It is in the way they accountability. It is in the way they do their measurements, evaluation, their learning, their monitoring. It is in the way they envision, as organizations. I think you can see that intentionality. You can see that there's a purpose, and everybody is fixed on achieving that purpose. It is not for the organizations. It is for the people that they have been set up to serve. And for WACSI, that is civil society in West Africa. And so they are strengthening their organizations, but it is to make sure that they are meeting that mission that they've been set up to do. It is also values aligned. The culture, and you can see it everywhere within the organization. And it is also being entrepreneurial, looking at what is needed to address the community's needs, the community that you are working's needs, even as it goes on. So you are not stuck in a box to say, oh, as for me, I only do programming on HIV, so this is where I will stay. Even if I can see that maybe the programming on HIV that I'm doing, there's need to look at an educational component. I'm staying only with the giving of ARVs. I'm not going to move there because that's not what I've been set up to do. No. So you see, Beacon of Hope, for example, is an organization that initially was set up that Madame Jane, this trailblazer, set up to support women living with HIV. Today, she's not only supporting these women by giving them skills, entrepreneurial skills, she's supporting them with health facilities, and the health has expanded to include other aspects of health, not only HIV. So other people with other health needs are also attending their clinics. She's expanded through this line to support the women's children with education. And she started from creche, moved to kindergarten, moved to primary, moved to JSS. Now she even has technical vocational educational institutes, which trains not only the children from the women, but the whole community and others. And the way they balance this, and including that she has conference facilities, accommodation, all integrated to support the mission of the organization, which is to empower the community for the glory of God. That is it. It's so simple, but you can see the vision, and you can see the intention, you can see the purpose, you can see the drive, the commitment. And another thing for me that stood out as somebody who is a Christian was the faith. It was heavily driven by her faith in God. And she attributed a lot of the success to how God had opened different doors for us. And I believe for WACSI also, I know it's also the same. And I saw it also in KCDA. So that is also another component. I know them. It's not everybody who may be faith-based, but for those of us who believe, it is a very strong aspect of the work that we do. And because we've been brought into this world by God for a purpose, and He supports us to do that. So those are some of the things that for me really stood out, and you could see it in the staff that we engaged, both organizations. It's not only the executive director who is carrying the vision. Everybody is. So that for me was it struck me.
As you're talking, Nana, talking about 3 organizations on the African continent, for me, that's one thing that is standing out. In Kenya, in Ghana, from West Africa, I know many other African organizations, African founded, African established organizations may be in this journey and may be grappling in one way or the other. What advice or what message do you have for these organizations as they are on this beautiful journey towards sustainability?
I think what I'll say is be bold. I think you should be bold because it's not easy. It's quite scary, especially if you've been very dependent on donor funding for long. I mean, really stepping out to say, we are going to do this and to support our mission. It's not easy. Be bold, but in that boldness, learn from others who've done it so that you can learn to do the right things. And that's what we are doing. Learn from others. It's sad that many of us are not collaborating as much as we should be on the continent. And I think if there's any time that we should build that solidarity and really support each other to thrive, to support the people that we've been set up to support, it is now. And so there must be a lot more collaboration, but also have the right people around you. Choose the right people to work with. And the commitment and dedication is important. And also the values that drive. Strengthening that and ensuring that it flows and aligns through everything that you do. And most importantly, God. But I think many of us could, in 50, 100 years to come, there are organizations that survive for that. Once your mission remains relevant, you should be able to build systems that sustain that relevance for the constituencies that you've been set up to serve. So I think we need to build those systems. We need to build those structures. We need to see how we can support our missions to serve the people that we've been set up to serve.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nana Asantewa Afadzinu, for your time. Very enriching discussion here. And dear listeners, dear viewers, if you want to learn more about WACSI's sustainability journey, one that, of course, we are on it, feel free to reach out to us via info@waxi.org, and we will interact with you. If you have any specific questions or comments about Dr. Nana's reflections, do not hesitate to share in the comment section. And of course, we will definitely come back to you, Dr. Nana, for a part 2 of this conversation, because sustainability seems to be an endless journey.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jim, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.